Well, hello everyone. I haven't been on here in a hot minute, have I? Well, I have some exciting news for you. If you're a big fan of professional wrestling, and more to the point, we're a big fan of when I used to talk about professional wrestling on a regular basis, then I've got some big news for you. Yours truly has launched the In-Ring Reality podcast. That's right, a for real podcast available on all the major platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, everywhere that you can listen to a podcast, that you can think about a podcast going into your ears. You can listen to the show. The show happens every Tuesday for Raw review, every Wednesday for SmackDown review, every Thursday for NXT and NXT UK reviews. It has a weekly end show on Saturday where I talk about the news of the week, highlight big things that I think happened on TV, and also answer your fan questions and pay-per-view predictions and pay-per-view reviews in between as well. So anything you'd ever want to know about the world of professional wrestling from any company that I can ever be exposed to, I've gone full-time into podcasting. So please do consider subscribing, and particularly, no matter how you choose to listen to a podcast on your preferred listening platform, consider leaving a 5-star review on both Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, either one that you have access to with your platform. I know you can't get to Apple Podcasts if you don't have an Apple iPhone, and you can't get to Google Podcasts if you don't have an Android phone, but if you can leave a 5-star review on either one of those apps, or even access those platforms through your PC or Mac, that really helps the algorithm and helps the show get noticed and helps make things happen with it. So I would really, really appreciate it. So I hope you all are looking forward to joining me in this new endeavor. Now, what does that mean for a video? Well, before I get into that, because I just realized I didn't do it, how can you get in touch with the show? If you want to ask those questions and give that feedback, we have social media. It's Twitter and Instagram at In-Ring Reality Podcast, and the email is the same, at inringrealitypodcast@gmail.com. Alright, so what does this mean for my video feature? Right now I don't know, because the same thing I told you last time I was here remains true. I'm looking after my knees a lot, and I just don't have time to devote to video the way that I want to, which is why I decided to start In-Ring Reality, because wrestling is something that always is on the go. Something is always happening with it. There is something happening within that world almost daily, and it's a great test for, number one, how quickly I can produce an episode given my limited amount of time every day, which has not been a problem yet. I haven't missed one day of intended upload through 4 episodes. And by the way, the 4th episode will be the best sounding, because I now have to use Audacity to record with instead of Adobe Audition, because I can no longer afford the subscription to the Adobe suite. But yeah, anyway, my point that I was getting at was, I haven't missed a single day of intended upload. I've been able to maintain the schedule with the limited time I have in the day. So that's a big test passed for me so far. So now all I'm doing is trying to see if this podcast is going to take off and be well received or not. And if it is, then I will find the time to talk about my love for comics, film, and television, as well as tech. So it might be a Words to 3 podcast at some point, depending on whether or not In-Ring Reality takes off or not. So if you miss my creativity, please do consider subscribing to my podcast. Even if you're not into the world of professional wrestling, but just like to support me, you can do that as well. And I will be back on YouTube. I don't like the word retire, because I don't plan to be away from anything forever. But right now, with the way my schedule is, this is where my focus is. But I'm not going to shut down this channel. So if you want to remain subscribed in hopes that I can find the time to come back, you can do that. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. But I don't like using the word retire, because I think everything goes through cycles. But right now, this is my creative focus and creative cycle. So I hope you will join me to be a part of In-Ring Reality. Again, you can get in touch with the show on Twitter and Instagram at In-Ring Reality Podcast and through email at inringrealitypodcast@gmail.com. And as always, this has been your Razman's Reality Check.